All right, so if you are not in Mrs. Ortega's geometry class, then you clicked on the wrong YouTube video. So I'm going to go over some of the questions you guys had for lessons or these last 4 assignments. So we're going to look at first Sarah's question for lesson 18, number 4. So I'm here at the page and it's asking for the midpoint. I'm sorry, 2 of the labeled points on this coordinate grid have a third labeled point as their midpoint. Identify the 2 points and their midpoint and verify your answer. So right away I can see that the only 3 points on here that look to be on a straight line are points E, D, and A right here. Okay, so we're going to take the coordinates of those 2 points and we're going to find out the midpoint, and we think it's D, but we're going to verify it by using the midpoint formula on a coordinate plane. And that is, as you guys can see right here in I actually do have notes as well. I have the formulas right here. So I'm gonna take that formula, which is M stands for midpoint, x1 plus x2 over 2, and the second point is y1 plus y2 over 2. And that should give me the coordinates to the midpoint. So let's take the coordinates here. First of all, the coordinates for E is, let's see, it's -1, -2. So -2 and +2. And the other point is 4. If you hear somebody kind of laughing, it's Bella in the background. 4 and -3. She's obviously not laughing at me. She's looking at some YouTube video. Alright, so here we go. Those are the 2 points. Now we're just going to plug it in. So we're going to call this, let's see, we're going to call this x1, x2, y1, y2. Now let's just plug it in. So we have midpoint is 4 plus a -2 over 2 and -3 plus 2 over 2. Okay, so we have, so this over here is 4 plus 2 over 2. And over here we have -1 over 2. So the answer is 1 -0.5 or 1/2. -1/2. So this should be the midpoint. Let's take a look. Okay, so D is at, the X is at 1. And we can see that the point is right between 0 and -1. So yep, that's the midpoint. So the answer is 1 and -1/2. So I hope that answers your question, Sarah. Let's see, the next question is also Sarah's, and she just wants to verify that she did number 15 correctly. So let's take a look, Sarah. Actually, I already have a little sticky note on here so that I can make sure I go over that. And number 15 says, transform the equation x minus 3y equals 6 to put it into slope-intercept form. So the equation is x minus 3y equals 6. So we're going to convert it into slope-intercept form, and the equation for that is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so that's the format that we're going to use. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look. So the first thing we have to do is bring the x over to this side. So we're going to subtract the x from both sides. This leaves us with 3y over here on this side and 6 minus x over here on this side. Now we have to get rid of the 3 on this side, so we're going to do -3, okay? And then we're going to do a -3 over here on, because it has to be on all of it. So we're going to do, I'm just going to do it on both ends so that we could just make it easier on ourselves. But we're going to isolate the y over here. So 6 over 3 is 2. And x over 3, well, we can't do x over 3. So we're going to do, well, we can, but this is really a 1 right here. And so that we can have an actual, we can have it in slope-intercept form a little bit more easily. We're just going to put a 1x because it's the same thing as x. So we're going to have a -1/3 x. Okay, so I hope you guys understand that this is actually the same thing as this. All right, so we now, it's not quite in the right format yet. It has to be a mx plus b, so we're going to move things around. We're going to bring this over here on this side, and we're going to bring the 2 over here on this side. So, and since it's a -1/3, oops, -1/3 x, and this is a +2, so that should be the final answer. So, let's see. Oh, okay, I see what I did wrong. I did a -3 over here on this side. Because I'm checking the answers and I did something wrong. So this should have been a -3 over here as well, because I had to get rid of this -3. It had to be a +1. So this is actually -2 over here. And this is, this was already a -x. So this actually becomes positive. So it's positive, sorry. It was a -x over here. We brought in a -3, making this over here a positive. So we are going to change that to a positive. So -x over -3 would make it a positive x over 3, which is the same as a positive 1/3 x. Sorry for that confusion. All right, so let's keep going. Oh no, that was it. This is the final answer. Okay, so 3x plus, well, this would be a minus. Sorry, over here, forgot that one. 1/3 x minus 2. I'm so sorry, Sarah, if I confused you even more. So I kind of caught myself right there in the middle, and I realized I did something wrong, which goes to show how careful we have to be when it comes to positive and negative signs. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. The next question is from Michael. And Michael says he's having trouble with lesson 19, number 6. Lesson 19, number 6. Okay, got it. So this one is use inductive reasoning to determine the missing value. So the values that are given are 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, something, 31, and 37. All right, so I do try to work on these before I actually start filming. So this one kind of gave me a little bit of a headache, but then finally it hit me. So as you can see, these are actually my little notes from doing this, working out your problems, and I was trying to figure out what the pattern was, and it finally hit me. These are prime numbers, because it at first I thought 11, it's not skipping any, it's just the next odd number, and then it skips one odd number, goes to the next one, and then it doesn't skip an odd number. But then it finally hit me, it was actually prime numbers, numbers that can only be divided by 1 and itself. So we have 11, 13, 17, 19, 23. Okay, so the next prime number can't be 25, because 5 times 5 is 25. Can't be 27, because 3 times 9 is 27. So the next one would be 29. That would be the next prime number. Can't be 28, can't be 30. And so there you go. I hope that helps, Michael. All right, moving on. The last one I have is for Luke. And Luke says he's having problems with slope-intercept. Okay, so I found 2 examples. Since you didn't tell me which examples you were looking at, I decided to kind of look for a couple myself. So the first one is lesson 17. This is the first one I found, and it's number 10. So here it is. This is the graph. The slope of the graph is, so what is the slope of this graph? Now, before we go any further, we have to figure out, first of all, what is the slope? Do you remember? All right, so slope is rise over run. If I look back on my handy notes, which I use frequently, I already labeled which page I needed, and it tells me right here what the formulas are for rise and run. So right here we see that rise is y2 minus y1. Run is x2 minus x1. So let's go ahead and plug those in right now. And the slope is rise over run. So rise is the same thing as y2 minus y1, and run is x2 minus x1. So now we can plug in those numbers. So let's look at the two points that they gave us, which is -4 and 1 and 2 and -2. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug those in. So we're going to call this x1. Alright, so the video just turned off, so we were just saying that the 2 minus a -4 actually makes this right here a positive, so it's 2 plus 4, which is a 6, which ends up equaling -1/2. And our options are A is a half, B is 2, C is -1/2, D is 2. So obviously the answer is C. All right, Luke, just in case you were not sure, you still need one more example. I will give you one more, and that's from lesson 19. This is why it's really important to take good notes, guys, to make sure you can go back and figure out what it is that you're supposed to, or how to do those questions that you might have forgotten the formulas to. All right, so here's the question, and it says determine the slope of this line. So here's the line. Bella, can you see this here? Bella, can you see it? Can they see it? All right, so I'm hoping they can see this line right here on the video. Yeah. All right, so then we're gonna have to find out what the x values and the y values are. So let's go ahead and do the slope formula again. Rise over run, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
Okay, you can't go further than that.
Okay, then the first one is the first point right here. We're just going to take where the line intercepts. You could choose any 2 points, but we're just going to choose where the line intercepts the y intercept here, because I just want to make it easier on myself. So I chose this point right here. Okay, so we're looking at 0, 0 and 6. And the other point, again, make it easy on myself, would be 6, 0. Okay, so let's just go ahead and plug it in. x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, so y2 is 0 minus 6 over 6 minus 0, which is -6 over 6, or a -1. Okay, so the slope for this line would be a -1. I hope that that makes sense, Luke. All I did was plug in the coordinates to the formula to find the slope. All right, so hope that helps, guys. Let me know if there's still any further questions. Maybe we could answer it in class. I'm not sure if we'll have time, but if not, I can do another one of these maybe later in the week.